friends, welcome to English Minds. Today we will discussing on literary terms part 5. I hope you are a serious applicant. Please ensure you have a pen and paper ready to take notes or complete your assessment accurately. Let's begin without delay. Today's very first question. According to contemporary philosophical interpretations of love, what underlies the desire of human relationships? Option A, the pursuit of beauty and aesthetic value. Rooted in Platonic philosophy, this concept sees love, especially Platonic love. What is Platonic? Like Ram and Sita. Like spiritual love without lust. Purity, chastity, as a means of appreciating and ascending towards the ideal form of beauty. However, it is more abstract and not necessarily tied to emotional relationships. Next, in spiritual and intellectual discourse, which of the following is considered more valuable than any relationships? Option C, personal contentment and inner peace. In philosophical and spiritual traditions in Buddhism, Taoism, and Vedanta, Buddhism, Taoism, and Vedanta, contentment means santosa. Contentment means santushti, and inner peace are considered in the highest value, even above attachment to others. And while financial independence, while important in sociological and feminist theory, example Virginia Woolf, a room of one's own मीन्स किसी को आगे बढ़ना है तो उसके पास पैसा होना चाहिए, अपना रूम होना चाहिए, अपने थॉट को एक्सप्लोर करने के लिए उसको ओपन प्लेस मिलना चाहिए. देन अकॉर्डिंग टू फेमिनिस्ट थियरी, फाइनेंशियल इंडिपेंडेंस इज मस्ट, and personal contentment and inner peace is true. Intellectual compatibility, a key concern in existential and romantic relationships. Existential and romantic relationships. This is often valued in companionship but not considered the ultimate aim in spiritual philosophy. And physical companionship, while valued in relationship, physical companionship is regarded as transitory in most spiritual tradition, and it's not seen as the source of true peace. Next, so option C is correct answer. Which philosophical view aligns with the statement transform yourself and see who comes to you. Option A, Stoicism, virtue as the highest good. Option D, self realization, inner transformation as a path to authentic connection. Stoicism emphasizes inner control, rationality, and virtue as the soul good. Soul good. Thoughts, it values personal transformation. It does not link it directly to attracting others. Idealism, reality shaped by perception. This view associated with philosophers like Kant and Berkeley focuses on how the mind shapes reality but not necessarily on inner transformation as a moral or spiritual path. Existentialism, self definition through choices. Existentialism, Sartre, John Paul Sartre, and Samuel Kierkegaard. Kirk emphasizes personal responsibility and authenticity. It is close to the idea of transformation but more focused on individual meaning, making than relation making than relational magnetism and self-realization, inner transformation as a path to authentic connection. This aligns with Eastern thought, especially Advaita Vedanta, Advaita Vedanta, Buddhism, and modern self spirituality. Example: J. Krishnamurti and Eckhart Tolle, and today's 20th century like Acharya Prashanta, which advocate internal growth as the foundation of external harmony. Next, the phrase people come and go, nobody is more important than your peace reflects the tenets of रोमांटिक आइडियलिज्म. अगर कोई कवि प्रेम या प्रकृति की सुंदरता को सबसे ऊंचा मानता है तो वह रोमांटिक आइडियलिज्म में है, लेकिन बट देयर इज इनर पीस. देन बुद्धिस्ट डिटैचमेंट एंड माइंडफुलनेस, बौद्ध विमुक्ता एंड और सजगता. माइंडफुलनेस, सजगता, अटेंटिव. बुद्ध धर्म सिखाता है कि सभी चीजें अस्थायी हैं इसलिए मन की शांति को सबसे ज़्यादा महत्व देना चाहिए। एंड थर्ड, यूटिलिटेरियन एथिक्स, उपयोगितावादी नैतिकता। यदि कोई निर्णय सामाजिक भलाई बढ़ाने के लिए किया जाता है, जैसे गरीबों की मदद, तो वह यूटिलिटेरियनिज्म है, न कि व्यक्तिगत शांति की बात। एंड डायलेक्टिकल मटेरियलिज्म मीन्स द्वंद्वात्मक भौतिकवाद। मार्क्सवादी विचारधारा आर्थिक वर्ग संघर्ष पर केंद्रित है, न कि मानसिक शांति पर। सो ऑप्शन बी इज करेक्ट आंसर। People come and go. Nobody is more important than your peace, related to Buddhist detachment and mindfulness, because your mindfulness is the first priority in your healthy life. And next question, which of the following best reflects the intellectual essence of love and the context of the provided philosophical extract? Option C, love is overflow of inner joy and peace. संत दर्शन और आधुनिक मनोविज्ञान दोनों को जोड़ता है। एंड प्लेटो से लेकर रूमी तक, टू प्लेटो से लेकर रूमी तक, प्रेम को स्वयं की पूर्ति, सेल्फ फुलफिलमेंट, और आत्मिक आनंद का प्रस्फुटन माना गया है। दिस रिफ्लेक्ट्स नॉन पोजेसिवनेस, ट्रांसेंडेंट लव मीन्स नो पोजेशन ऑन लव। लव इज एन इमोशनल डिपेंडेंस ऑन अदर्स। प्रेम दूसरों पर भावनात्मक निर्भरता है। एग्जाम्पल, जैसे कोई व्यक्ति बिना किसी के साथ के रहने के अकेला महसूस करता है, और जो उसको प्रेम की ज़रूरत होती है और जो वो उसको समझता है। लव इज अ सोशल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट फॉर म्यूचुअल गेन। प्रेम दूसरों पर भावनात्मक निर्भरता है। जैसे कोई व्यक्ति बिना किसी के साथ, प्रेम पारस्परिक लाभ के लिए एक सामाजिक अनुबंध है, म्यूचुअल कॉन्ट्रैक्ट ऑफ म्यूचुअल गेन। शादी जैसे समझौते जहां दोनों के फायदे की उम्मीदें होती हैं। एंड ऑप्शन सी, लव इज द ओवरफ्लो ऑफ इनर जॉय एंड पीस। प्रेम आंतरिक आनंद और शांति का प्रस्फुटन है। जब कोई व्यक्ति भीतर से खुश होता है और उसकी खुशी दूसरों तक भी पहुंचती है, वैसे जैसे माता पिता का बच्चे के प्रति प्रेम। लव इज एन ऑब्लिगेशन डिक्टेटेड बाय ट्रेडिशन। एंड प्रेम परंपरा से निर्धारित एक सामाजिक कर्तव्य है, परिवार के दबाव से होने वाला रिश्ता जिसमें भावनात्मक जुड़ाव ना के बराबर होता है। नेक्स्ट, in philosophical psychology, what is the primary function of inner transformation in shaping external relationships? Option C, to align one's frequency with higher states of consciousness. आंतरिक परिवर्तन व्यक्ति को उच्च चेतना, हायर कॉन्शियसनेस के स्तर पर ले जाता है, जिससे संबंध भी आध्यात्मिक रूप से परिष्कृत होते हैं। यह विचार योग्य वेदांत और जैसे समकालीन विचारकों की मौलिकता है। To attract emotionally stable individuals, इमोशनली स्टेबल लोगों को आकर्षित करना जैसे आत्मविश्वासी और शांत व्यक्ति अच्छे दोस्त बनाते हैं। टू एलिमिनेट डिजायर ऑल टुगेदर, इच्छा को पूर्णतः समाप्त करना। एलिमिनेट डिजायर्स ऑल टुगेदर, एकदम कंप्लीटली समाप्त करना, जैसे एक सेंट की तरह जो सभी सांसारिक इच्छाओं का त्याग कर देता है, लाइक प्रेमानंद जी महाराज। And to master rhetorical persuasion in social life with higher states of consciousness. And D, to master rhetorical persuasion in social life, सामाजिक जीवन में भाषण कौशल प्राप्त करना। रिटोरिकल, किसी नेता का भाषण कला में निपुण होना जो इनर पीस से इसका कोई संबंध नहीं है। ऑप्शन सी इज करेक्ट आंसर। नेक्स्ट, द व्यू दैट कंटेनमेंट इज मोर वैल्यूएबल देन एनी रिलेशनशिप्स opposes which of the following ideologies? Option A, hedonism. Hedonism, the doctrine that pleasure or happiness is the sole or chief mainly good in life. Hedonism का मूल सिद्धांत सुख की खोज है, जबकि यह कथन संतोष कंटेनमेंट को प्राथमिकता देता है। Thus, it directly opposes hedonistic pleasure-seeking values. The view that contentment is more valuable than any relationship, संतोष किसी भी संबंध में सबसे अधिक मूल्यवान है। अपोजिस विच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग आइडियोलॉजी, यह विचार निम्न में से किस विचारधारा के विरोध में है। हेडोनिज्म, क्योंकि ये तो हमेशा सुख के बारे में सोचता रहता है। हेडोनिज्म सुखवाद, एक व्यक्ति जो केवल भौतिक सुखों का पीछा करता है, वह संतोष से ज्यादा आनंद लेना चाहता है। एस्केटिज्म, वैराग्यवाद, जो साधु सांसारिक सुखों का त्याग कर संतोष पाते हैं। एग्जिस्टेंशियलिज्म, एंड वह व्यक्ति अपनी स्वतंत्रता और चुनाव से अर्थ बनाता है जहां संतोष का भी स्थान होता है। ट्रांसेंडेंटलिज्म, अध्यात्मवादी चिंतन, आत्मा की स्वतंत्रता और प्रकृति के साथ मेल जोल को महत्व देना। नेक्स्ट, from a literary philosophical perspective, internal peace as a prerequisite to love aligns most closely with option C, Vedantic and non-duality. अद्वैत वेदांत में आत्मा और ब्रह्म का अभेद माना गया है। सच्चा प्रेम तभी उत्पन्न होता है जब व्यक्ति स्वयं से ही पूर्ण हो। इनर पीस इज द सीन ऑफ वननेस विद द सेल्फ एंड द यूनिवर्स। एनलाइनमेंट रेशनलिज्म, प्रबोधन युग का यथार्थवाद, जैसे दार्शनिक तर्क और वैज्ञानिक सोच को प्राथमिकता देते हैं, न कि भावनात्मक शांति को। रोमांटिक ट्रांसेंडेंस, यह आत्मोत्तरण मीन्स कवि जो भावनाओं के उच्चतम स्तर को अनुभव करता है, हाईएस्ट लेवल। एंड वेदांतिक एंड नॉन ड्यूअलिटी, जैसे वेदांत में कहा गया है कि आत्मा और परमात्मा एक है और प्रेम आंतरिक शांति से उत्पन्न होता है। एंड ऑप्शन डी, एरिस्टोटेलियन रियलिज्म, अरस्तुवादी यथार्थवाद, नैतिक गुणों के आधार पर संबंधों को देखना लेकिन आंतरिक शक्ति शांति पर कम जोर है। नेक्स्ट, which of the following best defines him in literature? Option C, a song of praise usually addressed to a deity. Hymn, song or praise usually addressed to a deity. यह एक स्तुति गीत होता है जो प्रायः किसी देवता, ईश्वर या उच्च सत्ता की प्रशंसा में लिखा जाता है, जैसे मिल्टन, हिम ऑन द मॉर्निंग मॉर्निंग ऑफ क्राइस्ट नेटिविटी। A hymn is traditionally and devotional song or poem praising a deity or spiritual figure, often used in religious ceremonies. Next, an idyll is a poetic form that primarily Option B, depicts rustic life in a romanticized and serene manner. Short lyrical poem descriptive of everyday life amid natural, often pastoral, even romantic surrounding. Tennyson's Idyll of the King conform to the generally accepted idea of the term. यह एक ऐसा काव्य रूप है जिसमें ग्राम्य जीवन, पेस्टोरल लाइफ की आदर्श और शांतिपूर्ण छवि प्रस्तुत की जाती है। थियोक्रिस्टस और टेनिसन इसके प्रमुख उदाहरण हैं। नेक्स्ट, an idyll usually describes peaceful rural and pastoral life, often idealized or romanticized, evoking calm and simplicity. Alfred Lord Tennyson's Idylls of the King is best categorized as Tennyson's Idyll of the Kings retells Arthurian legends in a poetic sequence that fits the idyll's descriptive, often romanticized nature. Option C, a poetic sequence confronting to the tradition of the idyll. टेनिसन की किंग आर्थरियन लीजेंड एक काव्य श्रृंखला है जो एडिल शैली में है। इट ब्लेंड्स मेडिवल रोमांस विद विक्टोरियन मोरालिटी। नेक्स्ट, द फंक्शन ऑफ इमेजरी इन लिटरेचर it too. Option B, create visual and sensory impressions through language. Imagery refers to visual pictures of other sensory experience evoked by the writer. इमेजरी का प्रयोग दृश्य, गंध, स्वाद, ध्वनि आदि को भाषिक माध्यम से उकेरने हेतु किया जाता है. It enhances readers' imaginative and emotional experiences. Next, imagism as a poetic movement emphasized obscency, precision, clarity, and economy of language. Imagism 1912 to 17 in 5 years. Ezra Pound and H.D. Ezra Pound and H.D. जैसे कवियों ने द्वारा संचालित आंदोलन था जो स्पष्टता, सटीकता और भाषा की संक्षिप्तता को प्राथमिकता देता है. डायरेक्टेड ट्रीटमेंट ऑफ द थिंग was its central tenet. Imagism, a poetic movement founded by a group led by Ezra Pound in 1912, it published 4 anthologies. Des Imagistes, Imagist 1914 and Some Imagist 1915 to 1915, 16 and 17. Some Imagist 15, 16 and 17. The inspiration comes from the ideas of T.E. Hilm 1886 to 1917, who was an anti-romantic, believing that words were being used by poets to obscure emotions instead to clarify them. The Imagist credo may be summarized as use the language of common speech, but use it exactly. Create new rhythm for new moods. Allow complete freedom in subject. Present in image, but avoid vagueness, means, and clarity. Avoid. Produce poetry that is hard and clear. Concentration is the essence of the poetry, is the gist of the poetry. Ezra Pound is an American, though he was then living in England. Imagism was an Anglo-American movement. Anglo-American movement. With an English periodical, The Egoist started 1914 and the American one, Poetry, from 1912. Pound was himself most distinguished of the Imagists, though he separated from the movement in 1914. Notable contributors to the anthology include D.S. Lawrence and James Joyce. Ezra Pound, D.S. Lawrence and James Joyce. Next, the Imagist Manifesto advocated all the following except obscency, obscuring emotional clarity with symbolism. The Imagist Manifesto 1912, largely shaped by Ezra Pound, opposed vague and symbolic language. It emphasized clarity, direct treatment of the thing, precision of image, and economy of language. Symbolist obscurity and excessive abstraction were rejected. So, exception is correct answer. Obscuring emotional clarity and with symbolism. Next, Des Imagist. The first Imagist anthology appeared in option B 1914. Des Imagist, edited by Ezra Pound, was published in 1914. It was a defining collection that formally introduced the principle and poets of the Imagist movement. Contributors include H.D. Richard Ellington, and the others who shared the belief in concise image-driven poetry. Next, which one of the following authors contributed to the Imagist movement? Option C, Alexander Pope. No. Option B, D.H. Lawrence. D.H. Lawrence, although primarily associated with novels, contributed to the Imagist anthologies and aligned with their stylist goals in certain poetic works. The others, Wordsworth Romantic and Pope Neoclassical, and Milton Renaissance, and Imagist movement 20th century. Next, which periodical became the chief English platform for Imagist poetry? Option B, The Egotist. The Egotist launched in 1914, was key modernist journal in England that published works by Imagist poets. It's also featured early works by James Joyce and T.S. Eliot. James Joyce and T.S. Eliot. The periodical strongly supported avant-garde experimental poetry aligned with the Imagist principles. Next, Ezra Pound's role in Imagism was most notable for option C, organizing and defining the principles of the movement. Ezra Pound is considered the intellectual and organizational leader of Imagism. He helped articulate the movement's principles, direct treatment of the subject economy of language, and musical rhythm without strict meter. He distanced himself from the movement in 1914 but left a lasting impact on modernist poetry. Next, Impressionistic criticism is most accurately described as Option A, emphasis on the critic's subjective experience with art. Impressionistic criticism, the adventure of a soul among masterpieces, is a recent type, the product of romantic individualism and modern self consciousness, and it is a practice of presenting the and elaborating one's subjective reactions to work of art. Impressionistic criticism of considerable brilliance appeared first in the work of Lamb and Hazlitt. Lamb and Hazlitt. Sainsbury and Arthur Quiller. Sainsbury and Arthur Quiller, not Miller. Couch are its modern practitioners in England. Impressionistic criticism focuses on individuals' critics' personal, emotional response to a literary work rather than analyzing from the historical context. It emphasizing how a text feels to the reader. It's famously summarized as the adventures of a soul among masterpieces. Next, which pair of English critics the best known for their impressionistic style? Option B, Hazlitt and Lamb. William Hazlitt and Charles Lamb are noted for their deeply personal, reflective and subjective essays and literary criticism. Their approach was rich in feeling and intuition rather than rigid analysis, making them key figures in English impressionistic criticism. Next, Arthur Quiller Couch is associated with which critical approach? Option C, impressionistic criticism. Arthur Quiller Couch, known for his influential Cambridge lecture on English literature, adopted an impressionistic tone in his criticism, valuing emotional response and literary pleasure over analytical decision. He emphasized the feel of literature. Next, the phrase adventures of a soul among masterpieces characterize option C, impressionistic literary criticism. The phrase is often attributed to the French critic Anatole France and captures the essence of impressionistic criticism, where the reader's soul or self interacts emotionally with the work of art rather than dissecting intellectually or politically. Next, the term inoculum designates option B, printed books before 1501, marking early print culture. A term applied to any book printed in the last part of the 15th century, before 1501. From the historical and literary viewpoint, they are valuable and reflecting the intellectual and literary interest of the late 15th century. Among famous English inocula are Caxton edition of the Chaucer's Tale and Lee Morit, the author of Malory. Next, inocula, plural of, this is important for singular and plural also. Inarguable. Plural form of I N A I N C U N A N A B U L A I N C U N A B U L A मीन्स ए हटा के यू एम लगा दिया गया है. नेक्स्ट refers to the books printed, not handwritten, in Europe before 1501. During the infancy of the printing press, these are invaluable for understanding early modern literary, intellectual, and religious culture. Next, from a literary and historical viewpoint, inarguable are significant because they option C reflect intellectual and cultural currents of the late 15th century. In 1501, reflects the intellectual, religious, and literary interest of the late medieval Europe. They showcase the transition from manuscript to print culture and often include early translations of classical and vernacular text. Next, which of the following is considered a famous English? Option C, Caxton edition of Chaucer's Tales. William Caxton's printed edition of the Canterbury Tales is one of the earliest and most important English inarguable printed in the late 15th century. It made Chaucer's work widely accessible and makes the beginning of the English printed literature. Next, the book Le Morte d'Arthur by Malory is significant in literary history as option B, the form English, early English printing. Le Morte d'Arthur by Sir Thomas Malory, printed by Caxton in 1485, is considered a key English and a foundational text of Arthurian legend in English literature. It perceives medieval chivalric ideas and narrative traditions. Next, the Industrial Revolution in England primarily refers to the transformation of society from between 1750 to 1850. The Industrial Revolution marked England's shift from a predominantly agrarian and rural economy to one driven by industrial manufacturing and urbanization. It profoundly influenced literature, social structure, and economic thought. Next, which century is most associated with the onset of the Industrial Revolution in England? Option D, 18th century. The industrial revolution has been defined as a change of that transform people with a peasant occupation and local market into an industrial society with worldwide connection. However, we understand the industrial revolution with the advent of automation in industrial processes and the changes which transformed England from a rural and agricultural country into a urban and manufacturing one in 18th and 19th, and especially between 1750 to 1780, it was moreover the first such revolution in the modern world. The social, political, economical struggle that characterized life in England for 100 years or more intentionally, more intensely, it in the last quarter of the 18th and first quarter of the 19th century, roads, canals, and railroads increased transportation facilities. Agricultural was nearly abundant by 1826. Not a third of the former population was left on farms. Hundreds of thousands wandered through the country, dying and deceased. A middle class capitalist group developed almost overnight and progressed at the expense of men, women, and children, whom they overworked in their mills. Next, which of the following was not a direct result of the industrial revolution in England? Option D, the rise of feudalism, landlordism. In the Industrial Revolution ended the feudal structure, not revived it. Feudal in landlordism declined as capitalist enterprise and urban industrial centers grew. The other options are all direct consequences of industrialization. Next, the middle class capitalist group that emerged during the Industrial Revolution in England. Option C, rapidly grew through factory based production and commerce. The new bourgeois or middle class capitalist owned factories, mills, and trading ventures. Their economic power challenged the aristocracy and led to major social and political shifts. Next, Interior monologue is most closely associated with which narrative technique? I hope today's second last question. Option B, stream of consciousness. Interior monologue is a technique within the stream of consciousness style where the reader is presented with a character's inner thoughts, feelings, and sensations in real time, often without narrator mediation. Interior monologue, one of the technique for presenting the stream of consciousness of a character, recording the internal emotional experiences of the characters. It reaches downward to the non verbalized level, where image must be used to represent sensations or emotions. There are two distinct forms of interior monologue: direct, in which the author seems not to exist and the interior self of the character is given directly, and indirect, in which the author serves as selector, presenter, guide, and commentator. The Molly Bloom sections and the close of Joyce's Ulysses is the best example of direct interior monologue in English. The novel of Virginia Woolf illustrates the indirect. Some poems of Robert Browning may be taken as an interior monologue. Johnson Agricola in Meditation and Soliloquy of the Spanish Cloister. Some of Eliot's poems, the love song of J. Alfred Prufrock and Geronation by may be read in much the same way. And today's last question. In literature, direct interior monologue is best exemplified by option C, James Joyce and Ulysses and Molly Bloom section. The Molly Bloom soliloquy is Ulysses is a classic example of direct interior monologue where the character inner voice flows without authorial intervention, punctuation of or filtering, representing thought in its rawest form. Next, I hope some remaining question also. Which of the following authors is known for the use of indirect interior monologue? Option C, Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf used indirect interior monologue as a method to represent the inner thoughts of characters. Filtered thought, a narrator voice. This is seen in To the Lighthouse and Mrs. Dalloway. To the Lighthouse and Mrs. Dalloway. Where the narrative shifts fluidly between characters' inner livings using a third person style. Robert Browning poems such as John's and Meditation of Soliloquy of the Spanish cloister exemplify. Option A, dramatic monologue. Browning perfect Did the dramatic monologue where a single character speaks to a silent listener, revealing inner thoughts psychologically and conflict. These poems are key example for studying characterization through speech. Option next question next. T.S. Eliot poems. The Love Song of J. Alfred Prufrock is an example of option C. Psychological interior monologue. In Prufrock, Eliot presents the stream of the protagonist's fragmented inner thoughts, anxieties, and social self-consciousness, making it a modernist interior monologue reflecting psychological realism. Next. In literary terminology, the word intrigue refers to option B. Complications that form the structure of a narrative or play. Intrigue complications which constitute the plot of a play or story, usually the main one. In drama and fiction, intrigue refers to plot elements or complications that create suspense and drive to the story forward. It's especially prominent in Renaissance and Restoration drama. Next, option C is correct. No, option B is correct answer. Next. An interlude in early English drama was option B, a short play performed during intervals of a longer entertainment. Interludes were brief, comic, and moralistic performances staged between longer dramatic acts or feasts. In the 15th and 16th centuries, John Haywood is a notable writer of interludes like the Four Ps. What is interlude? A kind of drama developed in the late 15th century and early 16th century in England. The word may mean a play belief enough to be presented in the interval of a dramatic performance, entertainment, or feast, or it may mean a play or dialogue between two persons. The chief developers of the interludes were John Haywood and John Rastell. Haywood interludes were produced in 1520th and 1530th. The most famous being the Four Ps, the Palmer, the Partner, and the Pathocracy, the Apothecary, and the Peddler. Next, a short play performed during intervals of a longer entertainment. Interludes were brief, comic, or moralistic performances staged between longer dramatic acts and feast. In the 15th and 16th century, John Haywood is a notable writer of interludes like a Four Ps. Next. The interlude as a dramatic form was developed primarily during which period? Option C, early Tudor period. इंटरल्यूड एक छोटा नाटक या ड्रामेटिक स्किट होता है था जो मेनली ट्यूडर पीरियड के दौरान डेवलप हुआ, स्पेशली 1520 टू 1540। ये मोरालिटी प्ले और एलिजाबेथिन ड्रामा के बीच का ट्रांजिशनल फॉर्म था। एग्जाम्पल, द फोर पीस, a famous interlude. Next, The Four P's is a famous interlude was written by John Haywood. जॉन हेविड ने लिखा था द फोर पीस, जो एक ह्यूमरस इंटरल्यूड है। इसमें 4 कैरेक्टर्स होते हैं जिनके नाम पी से स्टार्ट होते हैं। हेवुड ने डायलॉग ड्रिवन और सटायरिकल ड्रामा लिखा जो अर्ली ट्यूडर कोर्ट में परफॉर्म होता था। एंड नेक्स्ट, द कैरेक्टर इन फोर पीस इज include all the following except partner, farmer, and apothecary, which is not option C, poet. And last, the peddler. Not mentioned. The poet character include poet interlude में कैरेक्टर नहीं होता। They are all 4 P's by John Haywood. Next, and today's second last question. The term irony in literary usage refers to irony, form of wit in which the opposite to what one really means is said. Saying in the opposite of what one means. आयरनी का मतलब होता है जब स्पीकर कुछ ऐसा कहे जो उसका एकदम अपोजिट, एग्जैक्ट अपोजिट होता है, जैसे लिसनर समझता है। जैसे इफ समवन सेज व्हाट अ ब्यूटीफुल डे ड्यूरिंग अ स्टॉर्म टाइम, इट इज वर्बल आयरनी। नेक्स्ट, the phrase ivory tower implies option C, artistic retreat from real world concern. Ivory phrases derived from Saint view, which suggests the artist's withdrawal from mundane preoccupation, now more often used in a preservative sense. Artistic retreat from real world concern. आइवरी टावर का अर्थ होता है कि जब कोई आर्टिस्ट, राइटर या थिंकर दुनिया का रियल इशूज से अलग होकर के अपने काल्पनिक या इंटेलेक्चुअल वर्ल्ड में जीता है। टर्म क्वाइंड बाय सेंट ब्यूए, नाउ यूज्ड for aloof, academic or aesthetics. Some more remaining questions. Next, in modern uses, the term ivory tower is often option C, viewed as aloof and impractical. आइवरी टावर का अर्थ होता है वह जगह जहां कोई व्यक्ति वास्तविक जीवन की समस्याओं से दूर केवल अपने बौद्धिक या कलात्मक दुनिया में रहता है। आजकल यह सब नेगेटिव अर्थ में यूज होता है, जहां स्कॉलर्स को प्रैक्टिकल लाइफ से डिस्कनेक्टेड माना जाता है। ओरिजिन फ्रेंच क्रिटिक सेंट ब्यूवे 1837। Next, the Jacobean age in English literature corresponds to the reign of option B, James I, time period 1603 to 1625। का नाम जेम्स फर्स्ट लैटिन जेकोबस के शासनकाल में पड़ा। यह एलिजाबेथन एज के बाद का लिटरेरी पीरियड है जिसमें ट्रेजेडी और मेटाफिजिकल पोइट्री ने जोर पकड़ा। प्रोमिनेंट राइटर शेक्सपियर, वेबस्टर, जॉन डन एंड बेन जॉनसन। Jacobean is the portion of the Renaissance during the reign of James I, 1603 to 1625. It is the greatest period of the English drama. Shakespeare wrote his greatest tragedies and his tragicomedies. Johnson flourished, producing classical tragedies, realistic comedy, and masque. And Beaumont and Fletcher, Webster, Chapman, Middleton, and Missinger were at their peaks. In poetry, Shakespeare's sonnet appeared. Drayton published his poem and Donne his metaphysical verse. In prose, the Jacobean age saw the publication of the King James translation of the Bible. Next. Which of the following literary works was not published during the Jacobean age? Option D, Pope's The Rape of Locke। अलेक्जेंडर पोप की यह मोक एपिक पोएम 1712 में आई, जो कि ऑगस्टिन एज में आती है। ऑगस्टिन एज, पोप वॉज प्रोमिनेंट राइटर, पोप इज एंड बाकी तीनों किंग जेम्स बाइबल 1611, किंग लियर 1606 एंड जॉन डन पोएम्स जैकोबियन एज में आते हैं। नेक्स्ट, which genre was most significantly developed during the Jacobean age? Option C, classical tragedy and tragicomedy। जैकोबियन पीरियड में शेक्सपियर, वेबस्टर और मिडल्टन जैसे ड्रामाटिस्ट ने रिवेंज ट्रेजेडी एंड ट्रेजिकॉमेडी को बहुत पॉपुलर बनाया। इस युग की प्लेज अक्सर डार्कर थीम, करप्शन एंड साइकोलॉजिकल डेप्थ को एक्सप्लोर करती हैं, जैसे वेबस्टर की द डचेस ऑफ माल्फी। नेक्स्ट, किट कैट क्लब। The Kit Kat Club was composed of founded early in 18th century by leading wingmen of leaders and politicians. Its members including Marlborough, Walpole, Steele, Addison, Congreve, and it met at the house of pastry cook Carl Christopher Cat. Their portraits by Sir Godfrey Kneller hang in the National Portrait Gallery. So, option B is correct answer. Political and literary wings of the 18th century. Next, the name Kit Kat Club was derived from. Option B, a pastry cook named Kit Kat, a pastry cook named Christopher Cat. किट कैट क्लब का नाम क्रिस्टोफर कैट के नाम एक पेस्ट्री कुक से जुड़ा है जिसकी मटन पाई किट कैट्स के लिए वह प्रसिद्ध था। यह क्लब अर्ली 18th सेंचुरी में लंदन के विग इंटेलेक्चुअल्स के लिए वह प्रसिद्ध था। यह क्लब अर्ली 18th सेंचुरी में लंदन के विग इंटेलेक्चुअल्स और राइटर्स जैसे एडिशंस और स्टील का मीटिंग प्लेस था। कमेंट सेक्शन में आप लोग बताएंगे मिल्टन किस ग्रुप से बिलोंग करता था, विग और टोरी, एंड किस ग्रुप को विग कहते थे और किसको टोरी कहते थे। नेक्स्ट, is the best defined as option B, a novel charting as an artist's spiritual journey, a form Kunstmann, a form of the novel is in which the protagonist is an artist struggling from childhood to maturity towards understating of his or her creative mission. The most famous in English is James Joyce, a portrait of the artist as a young man. जेम्स जॉयस की ये नॉवल स्टीफन डेडलस के आर्टिस्टिक और स्पिरिचुअल डेवलपमेंट को एक्सप्लोर करती है। यह एक कैनोनिकल मानी जाती है जिसमें आयरिश आइडेंटिटी, रिलीजन एंड एस्थेटिक्स जैसे विषयों को डीपली एक्सप्लोर किया गया है। आयरिश आइडेंटिटी, रिलीजन एंड एस्थेटिक्स। नेक्स्ट, which of the following is the most notable example form? Option C, a portrait of the artist as a young man. ये जेम्स जॉयस की नॉवल स्टीफन डिडलस के आर्टिस्टिक और स्पिरिचुअल डेवलपमेंट को एक्सप्लोर करती है। यह एक कैनोनिकल मानी जाती है। इसमें आयरिश आइडेंटिटी, रिलीजन और एस्थेटिक्स जैसे विषयों को डीपली एक्सप्लोर किया गया है। एंड नेक्स्ट, द टर्म लेक पोएट्स ओरिजिनली अपीयर्ड इन ऑप्शन सी, द एडिनबर्ग रिव्यू। Lake poets, a term originating in the Edinburgh Review, October 1807, to include Coleridge, Southey, and Wordsworth, who for a time had lived in close association in the mountains Lake District in the northwest of England. Their community of literary and social outlook in their earlier works made it natural to speak of them as a group, but in fact, it was only Wordsworth who was profoundly influenced by the locally and its inhabitants. लेक पोएट शब्द एक डेरोगेटरी टर्म था जो एडिनबर्ग रिव्यू में उपयोग किया गया था टू मॉक पोएट्स हु लिव्ड नियर द लेक डिस्ट्रिक्ट. यह टाइटल वर्ड्सवर्थ, सैमुअल कॉलरिज एंड रॉबर्ट सदे पर अप्लाई हुआ, जिनका फोकस नेचर, सिंप्लिसिटी एंड रस्टिक लाइफ पर था. And today, seriously last question. The lake poet include which trio of writers? Means वो कौन से 3 राइटर्स थे जो लेक डिस्ट्रिक्ट में आते थे? तो कॉलरिज, सदी एंड वर्ड्सवर्थ. ऑप्शन बी इज करेक्ट आंसर. वर्ड्सवर्थ, कॉलरिज एंड सदी. लेक पोएट ना यह ग्रुप 19वीं सेंचुरी की शुरुआत में एक्टिव था. तीनों राइटर्स वर्ड्सवर्थ, कॉलरिज एंड सदी ने लेक डिस्ट्रिक्ट में रेजिडेंस लिया था और रोमांटिसिज्म की फिलॉसफीज को प्रमोट किया. इमेजिनेशन, इंडिविजुअलिज्म एंड रिवरेंस फॉर नेचर. दैट्स इट. Thanks for watching. If you are new this channel, please subscribe, like, share and share your own thoughts in the comment section. Don't forget to press the bell icon for at least for all latest update. Thank you for watching. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to this channel and share your score also. Stay tuned for more informative content and make sure to the hit bell icon to never miss any update. See you in the next video. Thank you. Until then, stay inspired, stay curious, keep exploring, keep learning.